So the final 53-man roster officially dropped today, and we're gonna talk about it in this video. I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on it, who I felt like was a bit of a surprise, what was a surprise cut, is there any surprising names that actually made the final 53? We'll talk about all of that in this video. But first, Raider Nation, if this is the very first time you come across my channel and you love the Las Vegas Raiders, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button, just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to my guy, The Nation, for this APT right here. If you guys want to go cop it, I'm going to put the link down in the description below. Also, got to give a huge shout out to my Oos Arthur for the cap. Shout out to Ground Level. I'm going to put their link in the description as well if you guys trying to go cop that. With that being said, cue the intro.
And you tell them one thing. Just win, baby. Because you're not feeling Uzi.
So first and foremost, I want to gotta go over the players that got cut from the team, the players that were waived and whatnot. I'm gonna just run through the whole list. I'm gonna give it to you guys, and then I'm gonna just give you guys my thoughts on some of the players that kind of surprised me. But for the most part, I'm not gonna lie with you guys, none of this really came as a surprise. But the players that was cut from the squad, we got David Agoa, Clark Barrington, Carter Bradley, Ben Brown, Brenton Brown, Matthew Butler, Terrell Bynum, Andrew Coker, Cole Fotheringham, TJ Franklin, Wu Governor, Jaden Grant, Tulu Griffin, Marquand McCall, Sincere McCormick, Jalen McKenzie, Dax Milne, Jackson Mitchell, Will Putnam, Phelan Sanford, Noah Shannon, John Samuel Shanker, Jaquan Shepard, Charles Snowden, Dalton Wagner, Sam Webb, Deshaun White, and Rashad Williams. Now, players that was released from the squad is Cornell Armstrong, Alex Bachman, Zach Gentry, Jalen Guyton, Nathan Peterman, Christian Wilkerson. Other players that were waived that also injured was Corey Luciano, Ellerson Smith, and Ron Stone Jr. And safety Trey Taylor has been placed on the IR. Now, that's definitely a big list of players, mostly guys that we know that wasn't going to make the roster. Now, some notable players on this list, one being Carter Bradley. It looks like the Raiders are just going to keep two quarterbacks on the roster. That's what it means by this. But I feel like he did just enough in that final preseason game against the 49ers to be placed on the practice squad, which I feel like he's going to go to. Another player on the list is defensive tackle Matthew Butler. Another surprising move by me. He's been getting a lot of praise in the offseason from guys like Max Crosby, even from his peers. He was drafted in the 2022 draft in the 4th round, I believe so, or 5th round. 4th round. And I guess we just have better players on the roster right now. But just like Carter Bradley, I could definitely see Matthew Butler making the practice squad as well. One name that kind of surprised me, and I was kind of rooting for it in the offseason, not only because he was on the podcast, but because I felt like he had a lot of potential on the squad, especially with a running back room that was wide open for everybody outside of Zeus, that name being Sincere McCormick. Now, I felt like he didn't really get a lot of play, but then when they did give him a little bit of a opportunity in that final game, he didn't really prove himself, which kind of sucks. I hope that we could keep him on the practice squad, but if we don't, then I wish nothing but the best for Sincere McCormick. A really down-to-earth guy, and I feel like has a chip on his shoulder, and if he doesn't pan out over here, I hope he pans out somewhere else. Nathan Peterman, who was just signed to the team just a couple of weeks ago, doesn't make the roster. Obviously, I think he was just here just to be a camp body. And Christian Wilkerson, even though he got a lot of opportunity out there, he didn't make the most out of it. So those are the names that really kind of stood out to me. It looks like the Raiders do want to keep Trey Taylor on the roster. As far as right now, I feel like he does have a lot of upside. So we'll see what the future holds for a guy like Trey Taylor. Now, let's go over the Raiders final 53-man roster. Who made the roster? I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts as I go through the depth chart right now. Obviously, let's start with the quarterback position. We already know that the Raiders kept two quarterbacks on the roster, with the starter being Gardner Minshew, with Aiden O'Connell being the backup. Now, say what you may say about this. I know Raider Nation is 50-50 on this situation, but Gardner Minshew, I guess, gives us the best chance to go out there and win, not only because of his mobility, but the fact that he is experienced, that he has started in the league for many different teams and played to get into a lot of different defenses, great defenses out there, and, you know, did a good job. And one thing that AP did say was, we want to start strong and we're going to go into LA and play a defense that got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the outside. And we don't need a guy that's going to be a statue in the pocket. We need a guy to move around and make some plays downfield. And hopefully that's what Gardner Minshew could give for us moving forward. So, you know, congratulations to those two. I think that was kind of obvious already. I just thought we were going to keep three quarterbacks, but it looks like we're just going to keep two. Now, looking at the wide receiver room, of course, Devontae Adams was going to make the final 53. I'm happy that he made it. But we got Trey Tucker, we got Jacoby Myers, two guys that obviously we knew were going to make it, but DJ Turner, Tyreek McAllister, and Ramil Keaton. Now, Tyreek and Ramil really showed out in that last game against the San Francisco 49ers, really made their presence known, and I think they were rewarded for that, making the final 53. Tyreek McAllister, obviously we know, was a great returner for us in that last game. We haven't really had a great returner for us since Jacoby Ford was on the squad, but it's good to see that he's on here and most likely will be in special teams. Ramil Keaton is just going to be a depth chart piece, but I'm really excited and I'm really happy to see that DJ Turner made the final 53. I talked with this guy and he's been a guy that's been on the roster, been on the practice squad cut a couple of times, but to see that he made the final 53 and to see that he had a great camp and hear that he had a great camp and he's getting the love that he deserves, I'm really excited to see him out there on the field. Obviously, Devontae Adams is going to lead this unit. So as far as our wide receiver unit, we're solid. Looking at the offensive line now, we got Colton Miller, Jordan Meredith, Cody Whitehair, Dylan Parham, Andre James, Jackson Powers Johnson, DJ Glaze, Andres Pete, and Thayer Mumford Jr. Nothing really surprising here. Most of the guys that we knew were going to make it made it onto the squad. It's good to see that DJ Glaze is a guy that's possibly vying to get a starting position, but I still feel like the Oos Thayer Mumford's still going to be that guy to take over that position. I just hope that this offensive line can do their job this year and keep our quarterback upright, because if they can do their job, it makes the quarterback job much easier, whether it's going to be Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. Now moving on to the running back room, we got a new head honcho, we got a new starter in Zamir White. I hope that he can, continue his dominance that he started at the end of the season last year, and I feel like he should be in for a big season this year. Other guys that we have on the roster: Amir Abdullah, Alexander Madison, and Dylan Lauby. The tight end position is one that I'm really excited to watch this year, not only because we're going to have second-year tight end Michael Mayer returning to the squad and hopefully dominating and picking up where he left off from last year, but we add a rookie standout all-star tight end and Brock Bowers to complement Michael Mayer, and I'm really excited to see that 1-2 punch, that duo. We'll see what Luke Getsy has up his sleeve, but I'm really excited about this unit. And then you have Harrison Bryant as well to back these dudes up. Now the defensive line is led by none other than Mad Max Crosby, the Condor, the guy, the captain, the GOAT. Okay, I wasn't go that far, but Mr. Las Vegas over here, Max Crosby, is going to be leading that unit. We got Tyree Wilson, we got Malcolm Kuntz, we got Adam Butler, Byron Young, Christian Wilkins, John Jenkins, Janoris Robinson, Nesta Jade Silvera. Now, shout out to Janoris Robinson. It is great to see that he made the final 53 as well. Had himself a game against the 49ers. Now, John Jenkins, of course, has been that guy. Adam Butler. We're basically bringing in all the same guys that we had at the end of the season last year with the addition of Christian Wilkins. I'm really excited to see how this squad is going to look, how this defensive line is going to look with a guy like Christian Wilkins complementing Max Crosby. One name that I'm really nervous about this year, that I'm kind of worried about, is Tyree Wilson. Obviously, first round pick that we had last season. I didn't really see much from him to stand out in the preseason. Still looked a bit slow out there, but hopefully they could push him inside and give him more reps at the defensive tackle position, because that's where he flourished last year. But if he's going to play on the edge, then we'll just see, man. Now, Malcolm Kuntz, most likely, I believe, will be starting at the other end of Max Crosby, one guy that really stood out and balled out last year. But Tyree Wilson is a guy that I really got a lot of expectations for going into this season. But Max Crosby, there's nothing more to say about him, but our defensive line looks to be solid this season. The linebacker position is really intriguing to me, not only because we haven't really addressed the linebacker position for many years, but going into the season with a head coach that was a linebacker, that knows how to groom linebackers, that understands what it takes to be a Super Bowl winning linebacker in this league, I'm really excited to see what this unit can bring. Now, Robert Spillane makes the roster. Divine Diablo, Kanai Malga, Tommy Eichenberg, Amari Gaynor, Amari Burney, and Luke Masterson. Some names that really do stand out to me that I'm really excited about is one, Amari Gaynor. Of course, I talked about him a lot in this last game. He really balled out. It really showed out when his name was called out there against the 49ers. And he's an undrafted rookie that's come onto this roster, that's impressed the coaches, that also impressed, the Raider Nation that was in the building at Allegiant Stadium for that last preseason game. He was just all over the field, and whatever they were asking him to do, he went out and he went out there and did. He's another guy that I sat down on my podcast, got to talk to, got to know real well, and I'm really excited for his future over here in the silver and black. Another name is Kanai Maunga. You know, that's the Oos right there. So I'm always going to be happy that an Oos makes the squad. So Kanai, I'm excited that he's on the roster as well, and hopefully he can do more during the season and he could stay on the final 53. Now, Robert Spillane, of course, is the guy that's going to be headlining this linebacker room. He signed with the Raiders last year and did not disappoint. This dude was all over the field, a playmaker and a guy that we could definitely lean on in the linebacker room, especially with a lot of young players. We'll definitely be looking out for him to be that leader amongst all these guys. Let's move on to the secondary unit, specifically the cornerback unit. Nate Hobbs, Jacorian Bennett, Jack Jones, MJ Devonshire, DeCamerion Richardson, and Brandon Faison. Honestly, not really much of a surprise here. I just kind of hope that the Raiders can possibly address this position and maybe bring in a veteran to help this squad out. I don't care who it may be, but bring in another name over here. I know we're pretty much set with Jack Jones, Jacorian, and Nate Hobbs, but if we could add another veteran talent, it wouldn't hurt. But that's just me, Raidernation. That's just me. Now, the safety position is led by none other than Marcus Epps and Trayvon Merrick, but we also got Chris Smith and Maus, Isaiah Polamau, man. Now, that's a name I'm definitely going to highlight because Isaiah is not only an Os, because I'm biased towards, Maus was out there, but he's a guy that when his number was called last year and when Marcus Epps went down, he went out there and showed out, balled out, did his thing, made a lot of plays, whether it was on special teams or when he was out there playing safety. Now, we've been hearing a lot of great things about him during the offseason as well. So going into the season, I'm really excited to see what his role will be throughout this year because I feel like he's a guy with a bright, bright future. And when his name is called, when he does get the opportunity to possibly start, I don't think that we will be disappointed. And he's a guy that I've been saying could be a breakout player for this team moving forward, somewhat like a, Talanoa Hufanga, but for our squad. Now, as far as the special teams, we already know we got none other than Daniel Carlson, baller, dog. Then we got Jacob Bobenmeyer, long snapper, dog. And none other than all pro bowler, big dog, AJ Cole, our punter, man. I don't know why, but we always seem to have a great kicker and punter. That's just our thing. But with that said, Raider Nation, that is the final 53-man roster going into the 2024 season for our Las Vegas Raiders. I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on this whole thing. Is there a player that really stood out to you? Is there somebody that you guys really wish made the final 53? Who's a player that you guys are looking forward to watching this year? And is there a breakout star amongst this 53-man roster that we don't know just yet? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. With that being said, until the next video, this is your boy Simone Raider and your boys, yeah.